Presenting the Northwest Bank Wildcat News with the Bolt's Emily Magas. News from the Humboldt schools presented every Wednesday at this time by Northwest Bank. And now, here's Emily.
You're listening to 97.7 Bolt and the Northwest Bank Wildcat News here in the Bolt. I am joined this morning by Tamela Johnson. She is the Director of Curriculum, Instruction, and Assessment at Humboldt Schools. Good morning, Tamela. We said that you had a very good summer because this is your first time on the Wildcat News for the year. So you want to talk today about TLC, which is Teacher Leadership and Compensation, right?
Yeah, that's right. Thanks for having me this morning. It's always good to be here and spread the good news about what we have going at the school. And 3 years ago, there was some legislation that was passed, and then then that legislation goes to the Department of Education, and then the department creates a plan to kind of address that legislation. And what it is, like you said, it's called Teacher Leadership and Compensation. And what they'd asked schools to do is apply for some funds to help support teacher leadership in their schools. So we, kind of surveyed all the staff, what kind of positions would we need in our district. We formed committee to include teachers and administrators and some parents, and spent a lot of hours putting the plan together, and definitely commend Jen Savory. Jen's one of our language arts teachers at the middle school, so you can kind of guess what her job was, to kind of edit and get it that last final draft. And she spent a lot of hours doing that, and we really appreciate that. And so, it was a really short turnaround time, and we got that grant submitted, and there's 346 schools in the state. Only 146 applied the first year, and then 39 of those 146 got the grant the first year. And so we felt very privileged to get the grant. Yeah. We wrote it as a consortium working with Twin Rivers, so that we could share leadership between the two buildings and help support one another in the leadership role. So it was a hard process that we went through, but it definitely had a lot of satisfaction out of that.
Awesome. So what is the purpose of the plan and goals for this project?
Right. So through the committee then, we got together and, looked at that plan again. What did we write and what did we say we would do? And we looked back at the goals, and, really the main goal is to attract and retain those excellent teachers. Looking at student achievement data, are those leaders having some impact on teachers who then are impacting students? Addressing those individual, the building, and the district professional development. There had to be a great tie with that. And, looking at a budget, we wanted a budget that was, we had a budget. We had so much money that we had to deal with. Here's all the roles that we need, and we squished it in there. So we wanted to make sure that budget aligned with the roles and responsibilities of the staff. And one of the first things that the Department of Education asks is that all your teachers have a minimum salary across the state. So your first pocket of funds that come out of there to help to support that, to make sure that your teaching salaries are all up to par from what the state wants it to be. Like I said, we wanted to have a system that would really encourage those teachers to apply and then again reapply, and that the extra time and effort that they put into helping their peers, that they need to be compensated for that extra time. So we wanted to make sure that those roles matched up with the level of compensation and the additional days and things that they needed to put in to be able to help meet those needs. And then we wanted to make sure that we continued. Part of the grant was, what do you currently have going for professional development, and then how can these positions help to support that? So we wanted to make sure that we had roles that we already had in place in the grant, and then some additional roles. And again, making sure that those vision and goals all tie back to our professional development system, and then provide a system of support to recruit and support new teachers. Some of the teacher leader roles, the staff is out of the classroom a certain percentage of time. Some of them are not. Those that are out of the classroom a certain percentage of time, of course, you need to have somebody in their place. So it's been kind of exciting. We've been able to hire a couple of new teachers because of the TLC grant, and be able to involve them in our great educational system here at Humboldt.
All right, awesome. So year one was the 2014-2015 school year. How did it all go?
Yeah, it's kind of like building that airplane, while you're flying it, how that kind of goes. And so, it was a pretty intense year. The first thing, once we got the grant, making sure we could get people to apply for the grant or for one of the positions. And so we had all those people apply, a bunch of teachers, and then we had to go through a interview process to make sure that they fit the bill and to see what their thoughts and ideas are behind the new positions that we've just created. And every time, most times when a teacher leader provides another one of their peers some support, they send them a feedback form, like how did I do, what could I do better, and the feedback was just awesome. As far as like their understanding of content, skills, and issues, we don't say that any of these teachers are experts. They're there to support the other teachers, maybe to do a little bit of research for them. They then in turn build their skills as they're helping to build the skills of others, and just taking that time for those things that teachers don't have time for in the day-to-day lesson planning and carrying out the instruction. But we had as far as understanding of the content, we had over 99% satisfaction.
Wow.
They just had little comments like, I loved her knowledge and her passion, and her information is always really, really valuable. Were they satisfied with their assistance? We had 634 responses, so that's how many times, plus many, many more, but that was how many times they impacted their peers, and 98.4% agreed that they were satisfied with the assistance they got. Kind of just a couple comments. When she researched the methods and technology, she writes it all down for me and gets it organized so that I can reference it later. In leading meetings, I love how he managed and mapped out everything with an agenda for every meeting, and lets us provide input and kind of keeps those meetings moving forward. And communicating clearly, and as educators, that's one of our biggest tasks, is to make sure that what we're teaching or what we're doing is communicated. And when we're helping a peer, we want to make sure that we don't waste their time, so we want to be as prepared as possible to communicate that right information that they need. And we had 97.9% satisfaction with 634 responses. And and just one of the comments, not only did she communicate well during the help session, but she also communicated how soon she would be able to meet me. I appreciate that, rather than just having her come on by when it's suited for her and for her schedule. And she set times that would work, and we try to make it possible, to help me, be real prepared, and the teacher leader being prepared to answer any of the questions that the person might have.
That is some awesome feedback that the teachers are getting from other teachers. We're going to take a quick break here on the 97.7 Volt Northwest Bank Wildcat News, and we'll be back to talk more about TLC with Tamela Johnson.
Hi, this is Julie Clendenin with Northwest Bank. Northwest Bank is proud of its partnership with the Humboldt Community Schools. Northwest Bank supports Wildcat academics and athletics and wishes the players, students, and parents continued success. Commitment you can bank on isn't just a slogan, it's the way we conduct our business to meet the needs of our customers. We offer great rates, great products, and superior service. Whether you're buying a house or shopping for a new car, come experience the difference. Northwest Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
This is 97.7 Volt, and we are back on the Northwest Bank Wildcat News, and I am joined this morning by Tamela Johnson. We're talking about TLC, which stands for Teacher Leaders and Compensation, a pretty awesome program as it stands right now, and we're going to continue learning more. And they have just 1 year under their belts now. So what is going to be happening this year now?
Right. So last February, March, we met with all of the the current teacher leaders and had a conversation with them, what's working, what's not working well, how can we better support you, and we also did a survey of the staff, are these positions working for you, are there any additional support that we might be able to put in place for you, and it was really exciting. We had people had to reapply for the positions, so that's always hard. It's like they've done a great job, but yet they need to reapply, but that's part of the process that's outlined within the grant, and so we did some recruiting. We had a little coffee after school one day and asked any future or potential leaders to come to the meeting, and then they could hear from others how things are going, and by word of mouth, the principals talking to their staff, and then teachers talking to other teachers, trying to recruit. And we actually have more teachers in the system this year.
Wow.
And all of those that were in positions last year reapplied for that position or another position. So, knowing that they're willing to come back and try it again, that's pretty exciting.
Yep.
And as of today, we have 24 of our 30 positions that were filled, and actually have a couple more that are being actively recruited to go into another position. And so it's kind of excited. We've added AIW anchor coach positions to the school year, and kept all the positions that we had. So it seemed to be going really well.
So what are the current leaders, and what do they do then?
So we have the first set of leaders are all curriculum leaders. And so for the reading language arts area, that includes Jen Lash, Rod Mooney, Andrea Lubenthaw. Science and data coach Ryan Bowman, math coach Zach Gatto. Greg Wickett's our social studies leader. He stepped up new to that position this year, and Tom Johnson's also new in the career and technical ed, so they're both leading their groups, and Lucinda Boyd is leading the specials group. And what those leaders do is every once a month, the first Wednesday of the month, in fact today's their first experience in getting to lead their groups for the year, and they're K-12 teams, and they meet once a month, all at the same time. So each one of those leaders is responsible for what happens within that team, getting feedback from the team about what they want to do and where they want to go. They look at best practices, they align the curriculum, they're piloting new materials, which the math department's doing this year, and really with a focus on the Iowa core and making sure we're rolling out that core curriculum and the 21st century skills and the characteristics of effective instruction are happening in the classroom, and they're helping to support that. And biggest thing is, really looking at student impact. They're analyzing the assessment data that we get in as a district, some assessment data in their content areas, and then, of course, developing assessments to help to align to the curriculum with the curriculum materials with the Iowa core. And then we have mentors, and that's part of the grant is that you do have mentors. And last year we added a mentor coordinator, and that's Cassie Smith. And so Cassie's in charge of working with the mentors. And what the mentors do, they work with first and second year teachers, kind of getting them used to the district, the expectations, and then they become their go-to person. And so at Meese, we don't have any new teachers this year. Tanya Conklin helps the new staff at Taft. Jen Savory helps at the middle school, and Kathy Beach helps at the high school. And then with Twin Rivers, Trish Gargano then helps the Twin Rivers new teachers. And so it's always nice to have that go-to person. In fact, I remember my first years of teaching, and my mentors, she's close to 80 now, and we still are in contact with one another.
Awesome.
It's just built that lifelong relationship. Then the next set of people we have are tech integrationists. Then Jen Lash is at Meese, and at Taft, Rochelle Mao. And Rochelle also helps Twin Rivers. And middle school, we have Sherry Bornhoff. And new to the position, Susan Tomlinson has moved away from the district. And so Greg Wickett has taken her place. And, their role is huge. We rolled out one-to-one in the middle school last year, the high school this year, looking at elementary next year. All of our new curriculum materials have resources in them that the teachers can get access and the students can get access to. They help to monitor testing and organize that for the MAP testing, and then just the new fads in technology and what can be most applicable to our kids here at Humboldt. So they work very, very, very hard, and they're out of the classroom. 3 of them are out of the classroom 50% of the time, and actually 2 of them are out 50%. One is out 100% because she's assigned to Twin Rivers and Taft Elementary. So they have some big shoes to fill, that's for sure. And we created a new role a year ago in our district. We hadn't had one before. It was a data coach, and that's Ryan Bowman. And he's only out 25% of his day, but he is, he's one of those science and math guys, and he gets numbers and, understands how spreadsheets work and, really helps the principals in helping their staffs look at data in a meaningful way, and just all kinds of information. If you want to know something about where some of our kids are at, he's the go-to person to really help get that going. And then we have instructional coaches in the district. Andrea Lubenthal serves the consortium, so all of Humboldt schools as well as Twin Rivers. And she helps with like at-risk kids and maybe some behavior, and our ELL students, what are some best strategies to help meet their needs. Literacy coaches were roles that we had last year, but nobody applied for them. And so we have 2 people that are helping at the elementary level this year. Rochelle Mao, who's helping with the technology, is also helping with literacy. And new to teacher leadership is Michelle Zog. And, as an elementary teacher, it's really hard to walk away from your classroom for part of the day. So she's 100% with her kids all day long, and then she uses her prep time before school, after school, in the evenings to be able to help with the literacy in the elementary. And then we have AIW coach Lucinda Boyd, who serves the consortium, and she's in charge of that big umbrella of everything that we do within Humboldt is all about AIW, that authentic intellectual work. And our new roles that we added were AIW anchors this year. And Jen Savory and Kathy Beach have served as AIW coaches in the district, and they're anchoring a couple of teams, watching teams and giving them advice. Cassie Smith is helping with her team at the high school, and Jeff Johnson at the middle school. And of course, Mrs. Boyd is actively recruiting others. So we have a couple positions that aren't filled, but we're still working on that active recruitment process, and so there we go. Those are the roles.
All right. Thank you, Tamela, for joining me this week on the Northwest Bank Wildcat News on 97.7 The Bolt.
This has been the Northwest Bank Wildcat News Program, presented every Wednesday at this time by Northwest Bank.